Welcome once again to the Legionaries and Diversion. I'm your host, the Supreme Reverend Dr. Randy Tyson, and I'm joined at this moment, I don't know where Twilight is, but I'm joined by Christine. Say hello, Christine. Christine the bat.
Hello.
Not really a bat.
Hi, I'm an upside down bat.
You're not.
And excuse my furnace. Yeah.
Well. Very appropriate for all the wailing and gnashing of teeth going on with the Game of Thrones. People not being happy about it. I don't care because I couldn't get into it. It just I gave it 3 episodes. That's my rule. 3 episodes. If I'm not hooked, I'm done. And I even tried to read the first book, and it was like, oh God, how droll this thing is. Sorry, Game of Thrones fans, but no, I really don't care how bad you feel about this. And
I've only seen 2 or 3 episodes, but I'd like to see more.
Did you? Yeah.
They look pretty good. Yeah.
Well, then, yeah. There's lots of spoilers.
I'll have to binge watch.
Yeah. So how you doing? Been I guess a couple weeks. We went to see Brian Cox a few nights ago, and that was a really good talk. And I didn't actually learn anything. I knew pretty much everything that he was saying. So, but I'm probably in the minority. The one thing that I did learn is that I guess they must have updated the number of galaxies in the visible universe. It went from a couple 100 million to 1.2 trillion, and he was citing 2 trillion. That's the one thing I learned. We talked a bit about the black hole at the center of our galaxy, which is about 4 million solar masses. That's a baby compared to some of them. What he didn't mention was some of the other ones. There are some that are known to be 500 billion solar masses. That's a big black hole. That's huge.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish he'd have shown something like what infrared telescopes can peer to the center of the galaxy, whereas visible light doesn't get here because of all the dust that gets scattered. If you look at infrared images of the center of the galaxy, you can see stars moving around something that is not there. It's not detectable. It's there, of course, but you can't see it. And one star comes very close to the singularity, and at its fastest, it's moving at about 30% of the speed of light. That's a massive star moving 30% of the speed of light. That's just unreal.
Yeah. I'm not exactly trained to, understand this information necessarily, but in terms of, delivering it in a kind of, way I could understand it, it was great. And it was a performance too,
Yeah, it was a performance.
It was really...
we talked a bit about the theory of relativity. Oddly enough, a couple of weeks before, I had been actually watching a series of lectures on gravity, and it was talking about some of the stuff that Brian Cox talked about, like world lines and light cones, and how they operate inside that theoretical framework. So yeah, it was an enjoyable time. All 3 of us were there. As were some other people that we knew. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Randy had an extra ticket because his wife was studying for exams, right?
Yep. And she's a full-fledged RN now.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Wanda. Yay!
She passed her NCLEX exam. And she just has to finish some paperwork, basically. And pay her dues. And she's registered, so there we go.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
Oh, we got a lot to go through tonight. Because am I wearing the right glasses? Yes, I am. Good. These are my computer glasses, so I don't have to just keep doing this, because with Progressive, I keep having to kind of bob my head to get just the right focus. Yep, I'm getting old. This really sucks. This whole getting old.
I have issues with my eyesight.
Yeah, well, I used to be able to read like this close. Actually, it's still not too bad, but it's fuzzy. And it's as you age, your eyes cannot focus that close, and hence progressives.
Well, I'm very nearsighted, so I can read that close. In fact, I'd have to read that close if I don't have glasses on at all, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and then legally blind in the other eye too. So that's that's a bit of fun these days.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know where Twyla is. Keep an eye out for her on Skype. You can bring her in if she appears. Oh man, do we have a lot to talk about tonight? Because we've basically been 3 weeks since we've done a potpourri episode, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I think we'll start with a bit of Quack Watch here, or Quack Tracts.
It's time for Quack Tracts.
All right, Quack Tracts. Yes, this isn't really so much of a quack track as it is something that governments are, public health officials are getting tired of, measles running around and people not getting vaccinated just because, rather than for actual medical reasons. And here, we'll go over here. Germany is really tired of this. They may fine parents of children who haven't received the measles vaccine. And that's for children that are of school age, obviously, who haven't been vaccinated.
Well, you should get your boosters as an adult too, right?
Oh yeah, you should. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But the fine's hefty. It's 2,500 euros, so 3,500 Canadian.
Yeah. Wow.
That's a serious fine, and they're also going to be banned from going to daycare facilities. And that is to protect others who are either too young or medically unable to get vaccinated. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
That should be standard policy in any daycare facility or public school.
Yeah. I agree.
I applaud this. And Germany's had 203 reported cases of measles in the first 10 weeks of 2019 alone. So that's twice as many as they had in the same period last year, but fewer than 2017. So they've had up and down, but they're tired of fighting this, and it's about time parents did the right thing and actually showed they care about their kids and get vaccinated.
Well, I don't want to attribute bad intent or anything, but it makes me very angry when people don't bother to look up the credible claims as opposed to the bullshit sites, right?
The problem is that the general public isn't very well equipped to distinguish those things, and that's one of the things where we should defer to expertise. And when some nobody that's the problem. Sometimes it's not a nobody. Wakefield had a medical license.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's still out there touting his bullshit.
Yeah, well, listen to Dr. Oz. He's, from what I understand, as a cardiologist, he's pretty good. But it's all this other crap that he peddles on his TV show.
Yeah, and then there's Deepak Chopra.
Yeah, same thing. Medical doctor.
Yeah.
And he spouts bullshit. It's amazing, but people buy it. This is the thing I don't understand. I think they want to buy into it. I mean, it's something you have to want.
Well, maybe you just said you don't understand, and maybe it's kind of like the virtue. Oh, I understand this because it's explained in such vague terms that
like
it's impossible to understand,
quantum
right?
Mechanics.
Yeah.
There isn't a person on the
Yeah,
planet that
yeah.
understands it. Use it, yes, but understand it? Yeah, it boggles.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
even if you're using it in the mathematical sense, that's a very small percentage of the population too.
Yeah, I used to do that.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
we used it all the time in chemistry because it's and anything to do with spectroscopy is quantum. So
Okay.
we have to know this stuff.
Yeah. Quantum computing, which I know nothing about, but
I don't know much about quantum computing at all. I don't understand it.
But I think it's a thing, that's
Yes, it is.
based in.
And it's a very, very difficult thing to
It's not a superstitious claim, let's put it that way, right?
Yeah. I do know that things like it will make cryptology obsolete. There will be no code that can't be broken.
Okay.
So there's some, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because it can solve all possible, or can find all possible solutions simultaneously. What else? Yeah, so that's Germany. That's a good thing. I don't know how we got to quantum mechanics from vaccinations, but we did. Wow, it's amazing how these things go. Let's move on.
Weed is legal here in Canada.
So there's this unvaccinated teen in Kentucky who took his school. He's a Catholic. He took his school to court. He sued after this 18-year-old Jerome Kunkel sued after students without chickenpox immunity were banned from playing sports or attending school. And this was while there was an outbreak where dozens came down with measles. And a judge sided with the health department, as he should, saying that the 18-year-old does not have a right to play sports, which is true.
Mm-hmm.
This teen was claiming that his rights were violated, but nobody's sticking a needle in his arm. You have a choice. You have a choice. You can stay at home and learn that way, or go to school vaccinated. Unless if he had already had it, it would have been fine. But I mean, why would you want to get it anyway? His objection was religious. Shocking surprise. Because he said that it goes against his religious beliefs because aborted cells were used to derive the vaccine.
Wow.
That was true in like the 60s, but no human cells have been used since then to produce vaccines. And not only that, but the judge cited a document signed by the plaintiff's family when they initially invoked their religious exemption. And that on that piece of paper was this. I'm quoting here. This person may be subject to exclusion from school, group facilities, or other programs of the local if the local and or state public health authority advises exclusion as a disease control measure. So it's one of those bits of that's on a waiver, and it actually got invoked. It's one of those CYA statements. And there are only about 18% of the student body that is vaccinated against such diseases as chickenpox. That's a horrible number.
I know, that's amazing. Wow.
So what happened to this kid later on? Well, makes the headlines again. Kentucky teen who sued over vaccine gets chickenpox.
Oh, so the irony.
Yeah, comeuppance is totally his comeuppance. His lawsuit originally, argued that the vaccine is immoral, illegal, and sinful. Fuck off. This school, by the way, is Our Lady of the Sacred Heart Assumption Academy in Walton, Kentucky, and they've had 32 pupils come down with measles. Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I tend to associate the anti-vax movement more with like new agey people rather than, fundy Christians. Yeah.
Or
So that's a bit of
Catholics in
a,
general. I don't hear Catholics
yeah.
complaining about this.
Yeah.
But you know what?
Oh, except for the HPV vaccination.
Oh, yeah.
Lord.
Yeah. What does this tell our kids? Well, it tells them that you care about them.
Yeah. Yeah.
To get the HPV vaccine. Oh,
Yeah.
Bishop Henry. Oh, I've missed you so much. The guy that we have now, I can't even remember his name. He's so completely unconsequential.
Well, that's good if he's shutting the fuck up.
Well, it might be more underground than
Probably.
which
Yeah.
would be a problem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I loved Henry. He gave us so much material. Oh well. Yeah, these his lawyer was saying these are deeply held religious beliefs. They're sincerely held beliefs, and I'm like, measles don't care.
Really?
Chickenpox don't care. Like
Mhm.
and not only that, but it's not necessarily all about you.
Exactly.
Idiot. The Catholic Church has told its members it is morally justifiable to use these vaccines, though it wants alternative treatments developed without using cell lines of illicit origin. No, how about no?
Illicit origin. What does that mean?
Illicit origin, they're referring to aborted fetuses being used.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Get over it.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop it.
Well.
There, that was Quack Tracts. I'm going to go into something a little more local. Ontario, I guess you want to call that local.
Okay.
Toronto, which...
And I believe that Twyla won't be joining us.
Oh, okay.
So.
Okay, so that's...
Sorry, Twyla, we miss you. Sorry.
Yeah. This is in Toronto, which... sorry, Torontonians, but most of the rest of the country, including most of Ontario, doesn't consider part of Canada, but anyway. Ontario's highest court rules doctors must give referrals for services they oppose. So the Ontario College of Physicians and Surgeons had a new guideline that doctors must make a referral if they are not themselves, if it goes against their own personal beliefs, they must make a referral. It's not just about medical assistance in dying, but it includes contraception and abortion.
Good.
Yay!
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally.
Yeah.
We've talked about family doctors or clinics where there'd be a sign saying, "I don't prescribe birth control. You can go somewhere else."
Yeah.
But,
wow.
And people would say, "Well, so what? Because you could go to another clinic," but that doesn't change the ethics of the situation. So I find it very unethical to take something like contraception, which is not always, like birth control pill, is not always prescribed for contraception purposes.
Yep.
And that's
absolutely.
off the table. I don't find that very ethical.
Yeah.
And to be fair, there has to be some place nearby that does. But still, I don't find that. I find that a caveat that it doesn't change the ethics of things.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So,
but at least it changes the practice.
Yeah. Exactly.
And,
so this is long.
with the change in, sometimes you have to force, these things along and make people, think about their ethics more deeply, I suppose, right?
These doctors that went to court to try and get this what's the word I'm looking for? This edict stricken. That they're worried about what's called effective referral, which is a new buzzword invented by people like ethicist, not Catholic at all, ethicist Margaret Somerville. No, not Catholic. Yeah, just read her stuff. She's Catholic through and through. Somebody I know said about her, she pretends to not be Catholic. That's a pretty apt description of her.
Wow.
They invent this term effective referral. Which means that by referring to a physician who will provide those services, that they're somehow being part of the process of what they don't agree with. And a unanimous ruling. This decision originally went with these doctors, which were there were 3 organizations, and let's see if I can find that. Who was it again? Could you see if you could find who it was? I can't remember. Anyway, these doctors went to court. They lost. They went to the Court of Appeals, and in a unanimous ruling, the 3-judge panel dismissed the appeal, saying that while there were it was indeed a violation of their charter protected religious freedom. Here it is. Let me try and read this. They strike the, when referring to they, it's the guidelines. They strike a reasonable balance between patients' interests and physicians' charter-protected religious freedom. They are reasonable limits prescribed by law that are demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. That was the ruling. While the solution is not a perfect one for some physicians, such as the individual appellants, it is not a perfect one for their patients either. They will lose the personal support of their physicians at a time when they are most vulnerable. I totally agree with that. I don't agree that the doctors' religious freedoms were violated.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to change their beliefs. It's just that this is about the patient. This is not about the doctors.
Yeah,
You can't
exactly.
set that aside.
Yeah.
Don't be a doctor.
Yeah.
And one of the people that represented Canadian Physicians for Life, as if they're death panels or something like crazy like that. He said, ultimately, it is patient care that suffers, as our doctors will retire early, relocate, or change fields. Okay.
Okay.
Adios.
What?
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Is that a threat? It sounds like a threat to me.
Well, give somebody else a chance to be a doctor then. Move on. Go work at Starbucks.
And these, here we go. There are 3 groups: the Christian Medical and Dental Society of Canada, the Canadian Federation of Catholic Physicians Societies, and Canadian Physicians for Life. And they were saying that that's 1,500 of the province's 28,000 physicians. So not insignificant, but hardly a majority.
Yeah.
They claim that there is no evidence that patients would be harmed by not receiving a referral. No, but those roadblocks you put in the way make it difficult,
especially if you're in a more rural area, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. There's one pharmacist and they refuse. That would suck. And you have to drive 150 miles or whatever, you know.
Code of ethics. Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
That would be a violation of the Code of Ethics. For sure, because there has to be some. We saw what happened in Humboldt about 10 years ago in Saskatchewan, where the doctors would not do a tubal ligation, and they were the only hospital in the health region. And and so the Saskatchewan government said, "Okay, you're no longer a Catholic hospital." That was it.
Yeah.
And same thing happened there. They threatened to quit. Yep. Adios. Get lost. There is.
We need more of that.
Oh, bye-bye.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do need more of that. We're going to see some examples of why later on. But anyway, given the importance of the appellate court wrote, given the importance of family physicians as gatekeepers and patient navigators in the healthcare system, there is compelling evidence that patients will suffer harm in the absence of an effective referral. Exactly right.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a good decision. The one thing I don't agree with is that they agreed that their religious freedom was violated. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Yeah.
Effective referral is not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you don't want to, I guess, adopt the culture of whatever profession you're choosing and, accept that culture of, whatever, physician ethics, then maybe that's not the job for you.
Yeah, and religion is definitely one of the areas that gives cover for this kind of thing. It gives legitimacy to these, what I would say is bad ethics.
Yeah.
And again, they're making it about them. These doctors, they're making it about them. That's not what patient care is about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And society has deemed, well, not just that, but the Supreme Court has deemed that medical assistance in dying is something needed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been used a lot, and definitely is a need. That doesn't mean that we ignore palliative care. You can do that, fund it. That's great. But it doesn't mean there won't be a need for medical assistance in dying, which is one of the arguments that gets thrown around by the opponents have made. Just not true.
Yeah.
The best palliative countries with the best palliative care in the world right now, places like Austria, Switzerland, the Netherlands, all of those countries have medical assistance in dying. They've had it a long time.
Yeah, and you know what? If you don't want to access that service, don't.
Don't ask for it.
It's really just like abortion, just like gay marriage, If you don't want to do that, feel free not to.
Exactly.
Just shut the fuck up and let the rest of us live our lives, Well,
not if you're dead. But anyway.
Well, what if you're still alive and you're like totally suffering and that kind of thing?
Oh, but that's
right?
good. That's good
so
kind of suffering.
Yeah,
there's
of course.
Grace in that. Like, just smack people who say that. I won't do it, but boy, it's tough to hold that.
I can't agree with the morality of that, or
that isn't moral. That is the opposite of moral. It is disgusting. It's one of the most disgusting ideas that humankind has invented. Is that whole
and yet we do the same. We do that kindness for our pets, right?
Yeah, we treat like my wife says, we treat our pets better than we treat each other.
It's true. Yeah.
All right, I think that's all I got for. I could have included that in Catholic Watch, but that's kind of one of those 6 one, half dozen the other. What do we got here? We got. Yes.
The Regressive Left Files.
I gotta turn the volume down, and we'll do that for the next episode. Get my eardrums blown out here. Okay. Going to go to the browser. There was. I don't know if you got a chance to read this article in the Atlantic. Don't let students run the university. You don't even need to read it.
Yeah.
That's the message. You don't have to read it. That's the message.
That's the
No,
I read everything. Yeah.
Oh, some of the examples that are cited. I keep saying that at universities, these activist students are the tail wagging the dog.
Yeah.
Students, you should not be running the university. I mean, you're called students for a reason because you don't know enough to know what it is you should be taught.
Yeah, but it's not so simple as that. It's professors and
Yeah,
instructors and that kind of thing getting on board with
and
that,
this
right?
article talks about that too. I keep saying shame on administrations because what are you doing caving into this? This is insanity. I don't even care if I.
No, I
agree with the message.
appreciate input from everybody on how to best develop curriculum that is.
Yes, but not making demands.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. And he was talking about the author of this article, Tom Nichols. This is centering around Camille Paglia and her speaking tour, and all the "oh man, I'm traumatized and triggered" crowd. And this is a letter, according to a letter released by two student activists, a gender non-binary creative writing major. I think we call those burger
There's nothing wrong
flippers.
with that. Yeah.
Had brought this lecture to the student body's attention through social media and raised their concerns to Title IX. Oh, there's a whole other can of worms, the Title IX thing. And other university administrations about the school giving Camille a platform. She was invited. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, this led to a group of students demanding that Paglia, who self-identifies as transgender, be removed from the faculty and replaced by a queer person of color. Oh my. Students, you're not in any position to make demands, okay? Another example, in Vermont, students at Middlebury College have threatened to disband their own student government. Oh, okay, fine, go ahead. If the school does not respond to a hodgepodge of demands ranging from greater student presence in the administration, no, that's not going to happen. It better not. To the creation of a Black Studies department. I'm okay with that, but
Yeah, totally.
not demanding it. But there is a bit of a problem with
Well, that's a great idea.
Middlebury. Okay.
In fact, I'm surprised they don't already have such a thing.
Well, here's why.
Okay.
Guess how much of Middlebury's student body is black?
I guess, but that doesn't mean it's not an interesting field that
No, I
non-black
understand
people
that. But this
should,
is, I'm just giving you a reason why there isn't one already. It's like 1.9%. It's way below the national demographic.
That's quite shocking. Yeah.
And you don't make demands like this. Just stop it. Students also want a 2-year plan to create an LGBTQ center, hire more counselors who are femme of color and or queer, and provide a more robust health service for transitioning people.
I have no problem with that.
Well, does the cost justify, or does the ends justify the cost? Because that's...
I don't know. It's counseling and referrals, and they're not actually doing the surgery or anything like that. They're supporting people, and it's shocking that they don't already have an LGBTQ support group already. That's shocking.
Yeah, but again, we come back to demographics. What are the demographics? Show that there's a need for that.
Well, I guess so, but if you're in a position of fear, you're not going to be the one to say, hey, let's start this club, because then you out yourself, essentially, right?
These people are not in a position of fear. These students.
Okay, yeah.
They're not in a position of fear. Yeah. Quite the opposite. They're emboldened by what's happened at places like Evergreen, I'm trying to think about, or Old Miss, or Mizzou.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Places like that. They're totally emboldened by this. They've been allowed to run roughshod for far too long. Here's another.
And with the support of, like you said, administration, right?
Yeah, but the thing is that,
Yeah.
they're definitely enabling it, for sure.
Yeah.
A student group at Sarah Lawrence College that calls itself the Diaspora Coalition occupied some of the school's offices. Well, you know what you do there? You call security and you drag them out. They demanded that the conservative professor Samuel Abrams, the author of an October New York Times op-ed criticizing diversity-related events at the school, have his tenure reviewed by a panel of the Diaspora Coalition. Gee, I wonder what the result of that would be, huh? And at least 3 faculty members of color. Again, demands.
Yeah.
Expel them.
Yeah.
Get rid of them. Oh, but no.
I mean, I think students, obviously, student protests are a thing and very important, and historically especially,
is
right?
Fine. This is not legitimate protest. This is illegitimate protest.
Well,
and making demands.
I'd still, I still think that people have a right to make even unreasonable demands, and but when you have to use your words, and you can do peaceful protests and stuff like that. There's no problem with that. But when you start overtaking offices and threatening violence and this kind of thing, then it's an issue, right?
Well, I don't even think that you're not going to get action by making demands.
Well, apparently you do.
You should. You shouldn't get anywhere.
But not everywhere.
But well, thankfully, some administrations are standing up and say we don't disinvite invited speakers. So,
yeah, like the University of Chicago, I believe, was.
Yeah, well, they've
one of the
said
first to take a stand.
They said at the outset they will not do that. They will not.
Yeah.
Deplatform people. So take it or leave it. That's
what
should be done.
This is kind of off topic, but the Edmonton, Pride Parade, they took a stand.
Yeah, they did, and it's sad that they had to cancel the whole thing and because of unreasonable demands.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. It's not like a company. Like, these are all just volunteers.
Yeah.
So making demands of them is really stupid.
Yeah.
So we have. So he goes on to say we have to recognize a shameless dereliction of duty among faculty and administrators. I completely agree. And mayors. The mayor of Portland, like standing police down while protesters commit acts of violence. What the hell?
Yeah.
There's like, who knows how many dollars of damage these protesters cost. It's just ridiculous. Why are you letting them do this? This is not acceptable. Faculty, both as interlocutors and mentors, should pull students back from the precipice of moral purity and work with them to acquire the skills and values that not only imbue tolerance, but provide for the rational discussion of opposing and even hateful views. In other words, learn how to engage, not silence.
Yeah, you're precisely to be confronted with ideas that you haven't encountered before,
and
in an intellectual setting, right? Yeah, you should be angry, but there's such a thing as righteous anger, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if there's injustice, you should be, righteously angry, right? Do it with words and in the spirit of peace and cooperation. Yeah,
and it constructively, not being a bunch of spoiled little brats throwing a tantrum.
And I'm not even opposed to people speaking about their feelings. In fact, there are certain stories that should be told. There are people who there are marginalized groups and people, and their stories should be told. But I don't think anybody would disagree with that. Do you?
Well, my problem with that is, how do you know that that's their subjective feelings are an accurate representation of what is happening in that group?
Yeah, and I think things like, for example, if you're taking literature, it's totally appropriate to engage literature that you've not engaged as a North American before. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah, these students don't know how to handle ideas that either they don't like or just they're not used to.
Yeah,
And
probably not used to.
the author, I think, correctly places a lot of this on indulgent parenting, is what he calls it. He comes. There's another example.
Oh God,
Oh, what's that?
I'm
Yeah,
a target here.
There's another example he gives. This one I just. Oh, this really bugs me. Not like as if the rest of this doesn't bug me, because it does. Students at Brown University in 2016 demanded less schoolwork so that they could devote more effort to their social justice responsibilities.
Yeah, that's
The answer to that is get back to work.
Yeah, exactly. Protest
fail.
on your off time.
Don't do the work,
Yeah.
you fail. Done.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
gosh, like the audacity, the gall of this is incredible.
Yeah.
This some anonymous undergraduate told the Brown School newspaper, and I'm quoting here, "There are people breaking down, dropping out of classes, and failing classes because of the activism work they are taking on." Okay.
yeah. There's, everybody should be
Choice.
encouraged to engage in, activism, but don't take on more than you can handle. And I will say that that's from the voice of experience speaking.
Oh yeah. You were running
Yeah.
yourself ragged. I remember. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But you were at least an adult, and you made the decision to say, "Hey, I'm going to step back from this."
Yeah.
So
To preserve my mental health or whatever, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Don't take on too much.
Yeah, but
Or if you do,
that's the thing.
be prepared to.
You took all of those responsibilities seriously. These students are not. They are saying, "I don't want to fail this class, but I haven't got the time to do the work. So please don't give me any schoolwork."
Yeah.
No.
No, I can understand how.
Adios.
I can understand how activism could be interwoven within certain courses to.
That's not what's happening. This is completely outside of
to write
that.
papers and stuff like that, right? If as an instructor, you say attend some kind of protest or I don't know event where people disagree, debate, whatever, and write a paper about it and your insights. But
Yeah, but
again, no violence,
that's not what
right?
they're doing. They're doing this
Yeah.
completely outside
Yeah.
of their classes and doing it separately. They just want less
Yeah.
workload because of their decisions to do things, and it's like, no, get back to work
Yeah.
or fail,
Have
drop
you
out, whatever.
have you
It's-
have you checked our Facebook page?
No,
It looks like we have a lot of viewers.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if they
check it
commented
out.
or maybe if they
see
called
any
in, because my
comments.
voice is giving out. I got a bit of a
Hang on, we've got one from Kevin Francis here. We're often told that it's the duty of every generation to change the world, yet it seems Gen X didn't do enough and the new gen tries too much. How much is enough?
That's for everybody to decide. I mean, that's the thing. We're supposed to be having these discussions and coming to them, not making demands. I mean, making demands is totalitarian and authoritarian, and I reject that. And
Yeah.
that's what
And
we
policing speech and
election.
thought, Yeah.
And
That's a
purity
problem.
tests. We're just about to get into the purity tests. So I just wanted to finish this article off. The last quote from it. Students must be reminded that they petitioned the institution for entry and not the other way round. They asked the university to allow them to enter into a contract in which professors are obligated to educate them, and they are obligated to fulfill the requirements that will allow those professors to recommend them to the university for graduation. Yeah, that's the thing. The dog has to start wagging the tail again, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Change is great, but ridiculous change? Come on. So that brings us up to...
I don't want to, undermine the concerns of, people who are interested in engaging those conversations, but there's a way to do it, and there's, don't blow up, what are those horns or whatever, sound horns at people, and, white noise, or engage in the conversation.
To disrupt by somebody you don't agree with. That's a crime,
Sit
by the way.
quietly, listen. Yeah, sit quietly, listen, and, fuck them up in the Q&A. Yes, do that.
Ask them pointed questions and say, that cut to the very heart of their arguments.
Yeah, make a point of attending those just so you can engage in the Q&A and challenge bad ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard about what happened at Harvard with the dean of Winthrop House.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So this. Let me find the.
Defending Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, I was a Harvard law professor. Was on Harvey Weinstein's defense counsel, which the word trauma came up. Some of the residents of Winthrop House were just traumatized because the professor, let me find the name of him, I can't remember his name. He, by the way, the first black dean in Harvard's history, Ronald S. Sullivan Jr., dared to actually perform a duty which is necessary in the legal system, and that is to provide a defense for somebody. Even Ted Bundy can't be denied a defense.
Yeah.
But all these people were traumatized by this.
I don't know, maybe I probably overlooked this, but is he like working for the state and essentially providing these services to protect?
No.
Okay, so he's making a profit of them, which is what I thought. Yeah, okay, yeah.
But he's entitled to do that.
And yes, he is, and protecting the guilty is, not protecting the guilty, but defending.
Yes.
Yeah,
defending
everybody deserves their
accused.
Defense, even, yes. Yeah. Even if they're despicable, revolting creatures, and,
Weinstein's shit. Weinstein's a terrible human being. But he still deserves a defense. It's a very important aspect of our criminal justice systems.
And a pillar of democracy, dare I say.
Yeah, that too. It's just like journalists. They serve a very important function in society. And defending him in a court doesn't mean you agree with any of it, of what was purported to have been done. Doesn't mean that you're defending it in the sense that you are justifying the actions. That's not what this is. But people can't separate those two things, some unknown reason.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at some of the quotes here, what's the AB? I can't remember what the ABHW is. I'm not going to look it up. It's not important. Some Casey Gill said she felt a combination of relief and happiness about the announcement that Sullivan was going to be, his contract would not be renewed. And she said, quote, "I wish that it hadn't taken so long, had it required so many students to put their mental health, well-being, and potentially even their futures on the line in order to get that change to occur. How brave they were."
Are you which are you on the New York Times page or the
I'm on the Harvard Crimson. I'm on the Harvard Crimson, way towards the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
Somebody else said, I'm quoting here, "I guess a lot of people told us at the beginning of the semester that this couldn't be done, and that Ron Sullivan had too much power and was too good at using it. This is kind of proof that collective organizing against this rape culture can do a lot. Rape culture. Seriously. Having... Ted Bundy had a lawyer. Does that mean it's a serial killer culture?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I understand. I do understand where I'd be, do I want to be taught by this, guy, right? But I think as a student, I would still regard, obviously he's got an illustrious career and he's, well informed about his field.
But he failed the purity test.
Yeah,
That's
still.
What the problem is.
Yeah.
Well, don't look too closely at your own life. You might find that you fail the other people's purity tests.
Yeah.
God, this is just... Anyway, so Sullivan and his wife, Stephanie Robinson, who is also a lecturer at the law school, have been faculty deans of Winthrop House. It's one of their residential houses since 2009. And we're the first African-American faculty deans in Harvard's history. But when Sullivan joined the defense team of Harvey Weinstein, many students expressed dismay, saying that his decision to represent a person accused of abusing women disqualified Mr. Sullivan from serving in a role of support and mentorship to students. Wow.
I have to say that if I were in, a situation where I attended that school, I probably wouldn't be so inclined to complain to him about, I don't think I'd feel comfortable knowing that somebody was doing that work, but that's not to say that that's not incorrect.
Well, he's been there since 2009.
Yeah.
He's got a history.
Yeah.
But, all of a sudden,
frankly, on balance, I'd rather confide in people other than him, right? But ultimately, I would still, obviously he's established, and I think I would judge the individual on the basis of my interactions with them. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. So they tried to talk to the students, but it just didn't work. And so I don't disagree with the decision by Harvard to not renew the contract, because obviously the situation was untenable, but the reason it was untenable is all on the students. And they're the ones who, what do you say to somebody who is just making weird conclusions about something because he was performing an essential duty, just because he wasn't a part of the prosecution, he was part of the defense?
Yeah, and I guess if you take on that vow as a lawyer, you have to enact like a democratic citizen and defend those whose behavior you disagree with, because it's your civic duty, I suppose. Now, again, that was why I was asking a question about, is he making money, or is he, kind of acting on behalf of the state or whatever kind of thing, right? But
he would definitely
everybody deserves defense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think that the answer matters at all. He can afford, he can afford a good defense context, like O.J. Simpson did. That's what how we got away with murder. So this whole thing, there's another article in the Harvard Crimson, but it was just more of Sullivan's response. He wrote, "We are surprised." I'm sure he was surprised. "We are surprised and dismayed by the action Harvard announced today," meaning that they weren't going to renew his contract. "We believed the discussions we were having with high-level university representatives were progressing in a positive manner, but Harvard unilaterally ended those talks." So, I don't know. I'm sure this isn't the end of it. And we'll see. There was another opinion in the New York Times. Harvard betrays a law professor and itself. And the author, Randall Kennedy, calls the students misguided. I think he's being very considerate there. I would have called them something else. Yeah. So, and again, it's the tail wagging the dog. And Kennedy has been a professor at Harvard for 34 years, and in that time, the school has made some mistakes, but it has never so thoroughly embarrassed itself as it did this past weekend. So he's not too keen on that. He wrote, enraged by Mr. Sullivan's work on behalf of Mr. Weinstein, a cadre of students at Winthrop and in other parts of the university as well demanded the lawyer's ouster, asserting that his choice of client undermined their confidence in his ability to be properly attuned to their thoughts and feelings. Some said that Mr. Sullivan's choice was nothing less than trauma-inducing.
Yeah, this idea that words are violence is really getting,
way out of hand.
Violence is violence.
But milkshakes aren't. Milkshakes thrown at politicians are not violent.
That's Jesus. That's so weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's
how do you reconcile those two things?
Mm-hmm. May I suggest we take a 5-minute break? May I suggest we take a 5-minute break? And I think we do have a lot of people engaged on Facebook.
Well, that would be cool.
Including a comment. Yeah.
Sure.
I started something called video party or something like that. So give me 5 minutes, and I'm going to deal with the cat who is angry at me, and I'll be back.
I need to have a little intermission sign and put it up.
I told you the dancing hot dogs that you saw at the theaters. I think that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
it's so retro, and
that's probably a copyright
hilarious.
infringement of some kind, but
maybe
I don't think I can get away with fair use on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take about 30 seconds. I need something to wet my throat.
Probably 5 minutes, probably.
I don't even have a beer. I don't even have a beer tonight because it was cold.
Oh no, that's awful.
Yeah.
You should do shots.
Oh, that'll take care of the throat, that's for sure. Especially if it's something like
Jägermeister.
No, I was thinking more along the lines of starts with an A. Made from wormwood. What the hell is that called?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that stuff is dead.
Yeah.
That takes care of anything sore in your throat, or you got a canker sore. The pain's gone, and more like it's been, the nerve endings have been totally cauterized. What the hell is it called? Absinthe. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Absinthe.
Yeah.
There we are. Yeah.
Okay, I will be back in 5, and you're going to be back in 30 seconds we do have an audience. We'll have to put up our toll-free number and stuff.
A little dance. Sure, yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be back.
30 seconds, folks. That's better. Let's go back to there. All right. Yes, the banner's up. So if anybody wants to phone in, while Christine is powdering her nose, the phone number is 1587-288-1067. That is toll free. Yeah. It's kind of interesting. We have both my wife and I have this cold, and it's interesting how different our responses are. I'm relatively asymptomatic. I just got a bit of a sore throat. Not much other than being really, really tired. I slept until 11 this morning, and it was all I could do to drag myself out of bed. I was totally groggy for another hour, and that's sometimes how it goes with me. With my wife, she can hardly talk. She's it's much worse for her. My voice is relatively unaffected. Yeah, I weep for the future. I really do. I mean, seriously, trauma-inducing, because the dean dared to violate some moral purity and rape culture. You got to be kidding me. It's just, yeah. What's next? Did I finish this? I think I did. But we're not
Hello,
finished.
I'm back.
Ah, there we go. But we're not finished. Yeah, we finished that topic, I guess, because I'm sure there will be more to come. As I said, who knows what? I mean, these are lawyers, after all, in the land of litigation.
Did you see Kevin Francis's?
No, I haven't looked. I'm relying on you to do that. So.
Okay, so he says, although I agree in principle, back to the topic of, oh shit, I forget now. Asking for change has never produced results. It's usually taken often by force. Just playing devil's advocate here. Yeah, I think.
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Not necessarily by force, but by legislation.
Oh yeah, of course. That's how you do these things. That's
or by persuasion.
And that's what elections are for, right?
Yeah,
it's not.
And changes in language, like we call people chairpersons rather than chairman, and these changes in language that make a social difference.
I don't like those changes in language because it's.
Well, language evolves. I have no problem with
it. It's not real. It's not a real change. You know what I mean? It's not. You can change.
No, I understand what you're saying.
It doesn't change reality, right?
Well, I think it can actually.
Is not. I don't think of it as a genderized word.
I do.
Saying Merry Christmas is religious.
Well, I think calling somebody a fireman versus a firefighter is kind of it's better to call somebody a firefighter than a fireman. Don't you think? Like it just enacts kind of stereotypes that.
Honestly, I don't.
I do. Well, I suppose if you take man to be neutral, but obviously a lot of people don't.
Yeah, well.
Well, it depends.
If you're more worried about language than reality, there's some priority issues.
Well, for sure, but sometimes you have to change language to reflect the reality too. Language is an evolving
30
thing,
different genders.
Right? Well, that's a discussion that I'm not, whatever. But language evolves and changes and reflects.
Yeah, and a lot of these people are trying to force those changes as opposed to a natural evolution of these words.
Yeah,
and I have a big problem with
like
that.
The word Islamophobe, that I have an issue with. Absolutely. And
there are some of these words that end in phobe or phobia that I would rather have another word for. Homophobia, for instance. I know what it means, but phobia to me is an irrational fear, and it's not used that way. So I think maybe
I don't know. When I think about
another word,
when I think about what was the word I just said? The kind of propaganda word, Islamophobia.
Islamophobia.
If you change that to anti-Muslim bigotry, I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah.
I'm because that's a real thing.
And I think it actually has less syllables.
Yeah, probably less of a waste of breath.
Yeah. It's actually easier to say anti-Muslim.
And more accurate. Yeah.
And Islamophobia. Oh, I guess it doesn't have less symbols, but it's But yeah, it's
nails it much
a
better.
word that gets thrown about, and people, that the meaning of that word has gone to include criticism of Islam itself. And,
Yeah, the claims of a holy text.
yeah, and I'm
I'm
not down with that.
That's fair game.
Totally.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah. What does Faisal say? Oh, well, here's one. If you can, what is it now? If you can love the sinner but hate the sin, you can love the believer but hate the belief. I don't know where I heard that from, but
there are some believers
yeah.
that I'm not very fond of either.
Well, that's true. Fair enough.
It depends on the person, right? It's who they are. I mean, William Lane Craig.
Well, people who are worth engaging. Yeah.
Or Pat Robertson. That's even worse. He's
oh God. I'm more talking about our everyday lives, right?
Yeah, I know, but I'm just giving examples that everybody. I think we can all agree are really, really shitty humans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Let's go to that op-ed piece in the LA Times. I'm not making this up, folks. This is an opinion piece written by Carla Hall. It's titled, "Will Meghan Markle and Prince Harry raise their baby to be black?" What do you say to that? Well, what do you say to something so absurd?
How about they just raise their baby to be human?
Yeah.
To have human. Yeah. Obviously, that child is in a super privileged position, and
you think?
Obviously, I just think it's part of. I guess I've made this analogy before. I kind of find that listening. Sorry?
They can be privileged, but I still don't want their lives.
Oh, no, me neither. Yeah. But I see no reason why not for that child to become aware of all cultures that, and well, not all cultures, because that would be pretty much impossible, but, the concerns of the global community as a whole, as well as, obviously acknowledging his privilege and, that doesn't mean raising the child as black. It means raising the child as a world citizen, a global citizen who's engaged with people outside his own circle. You know what I mean? Like recognize your privilege and reach out to the rest of the world if you have that kind of power and make good change. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you have to raise the child as black. Raise the child as a child.
Yeah. Yeah. But I hope he doesn't do what his granddad does and push homeopathy.
Oh, God.
They do good work with the World Wildlife Fund.
Yeah.
But homeopathy, Charles swears by it, right? So.
Oh, I know. Yeah. He's a...
I mean, it's just... I don't even know if I want to read the quotes from this. You guys, it's been on the screen long enough for you to read it. I really just...
Do you want me to read?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
I can't do this without...
There is no one black experience except perhaps a cop stopping you because you look like a suspect. And then what you've got highlighted, will the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, whose very marriage... Oh, I'm sorry, it's blurry.
Are you reading it off the screen here?
I'm trying to. It's a little bit... Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Thank you. Whose very marriage was a break from royal traditions, break with the tradition of British royal family life, and raise their boy that way. He'll learn plenty about his royal background, being seventh in line to the throne. What will he know about his American family? He'll know he's a royal when photographers incessantly snap his picture at events. But I'm guessing that one of his first questions to his parents will be, am I black? The answer, yes, you are.
I really don't think that will be one of his first questions. I really don't. God.
Interesting. Baby Sussex, as he's called for the moment, will have an extraordinarily privileged life. We can only hope that he will live eventually in a post-racial world. Still, he needs to know about what it means to be a black person in the world today. That's totally fair. I think that's a completely fair comment. You know, there are issues in every culture, and if you can make yourself as informed about as many as you can, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, something tells me that's not what you mean.
Yeah.
Something tells me that it's much, much more than that. Yeah. Like, how many people, you know, of course it's not baby Sussex anymore, it's Archibald, or Archie, I guess. I don't know, is that short for Archibald or not?
I would think so.
I would think so too, but the only name I've heard is Archie. But then again, I haven't really cared enough to watch any of this.
I know.
The goings
I saw it on
television.
Facebook.
It's just like, will you shut up about the royal baby?
I got on Facebook and people were like, "Oh, I don't give a shit about the birth of the baby." I'm like, "Huh? They had a baby?" So I give even less of a shit than you do.
Yeah, it's just like, wow. Anyway, take this as you will. Will the baby will they raise their baby to be black?
Well, I certainly hope they wouldn't deny that child's background. But yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, I mean, don't
raise the child to be a good person. And I say child because that means boy or girl. You know.
Whatever raising someone to be black sounds very racist. You know what I mean? It's if you're a Morgan Freeman type of person, it sounds really, really racist. So.
But then again, I think there's nothing wrong with understanding your heritage, especially when, I've talked about German guilt being a real thing. I think you should. I'm really upset how people have forgotten about World War II and all that kind of stuff, and now we're tossing about things very lightly, like the term Nazi and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah, I know. It's
that's really upsetting. That's something to be taken very seriously by all of us, and now we're losing it with this next generation because they're preoccupied with analogies that don't.
Nazis were disbanded in 1946. There haven't been Nazis since then.
Yeah. Okay. Now neo-Nazis, absolutely.
Fine. But this word Nazi, and because there are no Nazis now, the semantic meaning of the term Nazi becomes expanded because nobody knows what it means. So it's like Islamophobia. It starts to encompass more and more things, and it becomes a conversation stopper. With Nazi, it has come to mean people I don't agree with.
Yeah.
And that is...
Well, there's a host of terms like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess this is a nice segue into the Stephen Fry
Yes, Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry accused of using white power gesture in posts about mental health. He was just saying things are going to be okay, right? That kind of thing.
Yeah, because that was the name of the organization he was endorsing. What was it called? You'll find it.
It was about Mental Health Awareness Week. Folks, if you think this... I don't use this gesture at all, but I'm using it right now. Okay? Okay. This is what it means. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
So people were tweeting... his tweet was, "Are you A-OK?" Our friends at A-OK Kit.
A-OK. Yeah. That's the organization, yeah.
Are supporting...
A kitchen.
Mind Charity this Mental Health Awareness Week. and follow them to find out more. So he was just supporting an organization that had nothing to do with white supremacy. Oh, man. But people, because of, recent events, thought otherwise. And one person wrote, "Stephen and friends, you might want to be super careful using this symbol if you don't want to be confused with white supremacist creeps. It's an unfortunate fact of life that even the kindest of intentions can be taken out of context." Yeah, but whose fault is it for doing that? It's not his. Right? His intent, and we've had this discussion before about intent. His intent was A-OK. That's what he was saying. Another tweet. "Are you aware that this hand symbol can be misinterpreted as support for white supremacy?" Yeah, well, again, that's on other people. It's not on him. And the last one was the stupidest of the lot. "Didn't have you down as part of the alt-right." What do you say to somebody like that?
I just realized my microphone was turned off, so.
Okay.
Yeah. I was commenting and.
Oh,
yeah,
you were, and I didn't hear a thing, so yeah. No, go ahead. Now your mic, is your mic on? Your mic is off again. Well, I'm going to fill in this pregnant pause with Stephen Fry's response to that. He said, did you just reconnect? Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. For some reason, my Skype dropped off.
Yeah.
But I'm back. Sorry.
So Stephen Fry was basically saying that he wasn't using a white supremacist symbol. Of course not. Jeez. What people like? Yeah. And he said, "P.S. I really will not allow the simple gesture to belong to the moronic, dog-whistling, cat-fishing, fog-horning, frog-marching, pig-sticking, dick-waving few who attempt to appropriate it for their own fatuous fantasies."
Yep. I love that. Yeah.
That's an awesome response. It's not, yeah. I mean, when people do this, they take a word and totally make it theirs. You can steal that back by making it your own again. So why not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have bat wings.
All over the internet will be these pictures of, look at this white supremacist bastard.
The flames will add a really nice touch too.
Yeah, the flame. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, I love Stephen Fry.
Oh, we're moving on here. So let's go to the Muppet. Yeah, we're on. I'll try not to blast everybody's ears here. Okay, here we go on the next segment. The Legion of Reasons Catholic Watch. All right, there we go.
I love that intro. That's awesome.
That took an incredible amount of work. I have to
I bet.
create all the points for the shape, and and then move those points incrementally. Pope Francis makes it mandatory for clergy to report sex abuse. Sounds great, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Except for one little thing. Let's read what happens. What he actually said. Pope Francis has made it mandatory for Roman Catholic clergy to report cases of clerical sexual abuse and cover-ups to law enforcement? No, couldn't do that. That might actually, result in something. No.
Yeah.
You have to report it to the church.
Yeah. Huh.
Isn't that kind of what was happening, like, all along?
Before? Yeah. Yeah.
Like when people reported it to the church, nothing happened. It was swept under the carpet or under the rug.
Oh, wait a minute here. The new apostolic letter makes clear that clerics should also follow state law and meet their obligations to report any abuse to the competent civil authorities.
Oh, so they did say that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My mistake.
See those 3 bullet points? Just after that.
Oh, down here farther yet? Oh, okay. Any abuse to the competent civil authorities. Okay, good. Okay, I was wrong about that. I missed that. That's a step in the right direction, finally.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn if they report it to the church. I couldn't give a damn about that.
No, it's completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
In fact, no, don't bother, because then they're just, they've demonstrated their, not just this Pope, but over decades, if not centuries, and throughout the bloody world. This is not confined to one church and, remote area. This is internationally. And it's, the things that are constantly uncovered, not to mention things like residential schools and, homes for unwed mothers and the babies of, the corpses they found there. Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not a good organization. Yeah. Anyway, that is a step in the right
I wonder if this also includes confession. My feeling of it would be no, that you cannot reveal anything said in the confessional. They don't say that here, but I think it's probably a given.
I wonder what I would think it should be something akin to doctor-patient confidentiality.
Yeah, or
where somebody reports to you that they've actually committed a criminal act.
Right.
I think you're obligated to, report that, right?
For I can't remember for a physician how it works. I think it might have changed. I think that they have to report any suspicion of, say, domestic abuse or something like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Child abuse.
Yeah. Child abuse, another one. I'm not sure a psychiatrist has to. But
that's interesting.
They do if it's a potential for a future crime, and then they have to report it.
Okay.
Past crimes, same thing for a lawyer. If it's told in confidence to a lawyer, that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
But
although if a lawyer knows that
if it's abuse and it's ongoing,
if they know that they're guilty,
nope.
Are they still obligated to defend that person, right? So I think typically lawyers say, okay, these are the questions I'm going to ask you, and these are the questions I'm not, right?
Well,
I would think.
I think, it's pretty tough to say to a judge, I want to be removed as this person's counsel. That's I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And if you're worried about past crimes interfering with your ability to defend somebody, why are you being a defense lawyer in the first place? Because of course prisons are full of innocent people.
Well, that would also pertain to I'm not sure what we call them, crown prosecutors, where they're representing. I'm talking about lawyers who are. If you need a lawyer, they will be provided to you, right? So this is not a lucrative career in terms of law. Thank you. Thanks. That's the word I was looking for. I think you're obligated to defend them regardless, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you're not going to get a good defense from a public defender. You get what you pay for, right?
Well, depends on the case, I suppose, and how invested they are in. I would guess that. Well, I would guess that certain public defenders probably get a case where there's actually a change and they defend somebody who's innocent, and that would be, quite an accomplishment, I would think.
I just thought of something. You won't know about this cultural reference, Christine, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners do. Rick and Morty. They did a reenactment of an actual arraignment, and it's it's hard to talk about this without using expletives, because the whole thing was just full of expletives. It was an actual courtroom transcript about this guy who was charged with murder, and he wanted a different lawyer, and it was it involved oral sex, and they started calling the threatening the judge, and it was just unbelievable. Find it on YouTube. It's done, of course, in Rick and Morty's voices, and it's just absolutely hilarious. Definitely.
I think I probably I might have been schooled on some Rick and Morty pop culture recently. So
no.
Yes,
really?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've even been watching a movie or two from time to time.
Oh, eh?
I saw The Avengers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I didn't know what that was going on, but it kind of, I'd seen a little bit of precursors to or whatever, so it's cool.
I've been so marveled out for years now. I just can't take it anymore. The last decent one was actually Doctor Strange.
Okay.
Except for Deadpool. Deadpool's up. But Deadpool is not... It's hard to think... It's easy to not think of Deadpool as part of the Marvel Universe. I found the Avengers to be incredibly melodramatic, and Iron Man was really good. Iron Man 2 was really good. Iron Man 3 stank to high heaven. As the most terrible
You're
movie.
extending my pop culturedness.
Yep.
At this point.
Doctor Strange was really good. I did not like Black Panther. What else? I haven't seen Captain Marvel, so I can't say anything about that one. But I'm
That was good. I
I'm
did
very
see that.
suspicious of anything social justice-y.
I saw it and I thought
Preachy?
it was fine. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I didn't get that sense from it.
Okay.
But then some people are looking for it too, right? You know,
Yeah.
just
I
sit
know.
back and enjoy the movie.
Yeah, I wish that more viewers would take that attitude and not try and
On both sides of the issue.
appropriate it for their own ends. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes a movie is just a movie.
Yep.
Get over it. Yeah. Speaking of Catholic students, 100 plus Red Deer Catholic students bused to Edmonton for anti-abortion event.
Isn't that unbelievable?
This is all stunt. This is all posturing. It's just a stunt.
I have no problem with a stunt and posturing, but I do have a problem with, students
It's so
taking time
contrived.
off when we're paying for them to take this time off and to be bussed up.
Yeah, I
to
wondered
Edmonton.
where that money came
That's
from, right?
bullshit. Yeah.
The students were actually bused to Edmonton, to the Alberta capital, and it very much. It's not like they weren't encouraged by teachers. Which makes this, very contrived.
Again, the Catholic school system. We need to do away with that.
Publicly
Ontario,
funded.
Saskatchewan, and Alberta. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And this
Ontario, Alberta.
Oh, go
Sorry. Ontario, Alberta, and Saskatchewan are holdouts, basically.
Well, there's actually a number of places that are under the table all over the country. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's not. It's just overt in these three provinces.
Yeah.
So the school board chair, Anne Marie Watson, said as Catholic educational leaders, we encourage our students to engage in social justice, which is part of the faith curriculum. Look how they're appropriating social justice, right? Saying anti-abortion is actually part of social justice. Fuck off.
Yeah. Well, you can define anything the way you want it to be, right?
It's a wastebasket term, right? That's why I hate the term. It can mean anything you want. That's why I prefer speaking about particular issues, specific issues. Somebody else wants to put them in social justice, fine, but that's just a wastebasket. It's great to. This is what Kenny was saying about the when students actually left the classroom a few weeks back in protest over the what is almost certainly going to happen with the sex ed curriculum in Alberta. What Kenny said was, it's great to see young people taking an active interest in issues. I'd suggest better for them to do rallies or protests after school hours and not during them. We want to make sure young people are actually learning in class instead of doing politics. So what did he say about this whole March for Life thing? The students being bussed up? Not a thing. Nada.
No kidding. Yeah. Hypocrisy.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see if I didn't mark anything on here. It's totally staged, and everything is staged. All these, kinds of things are staged. But the difference with this is it's staged in a way that makes it look like the students are doing things.
Yeah.
When they're not. It's really...
we get the afternoon off. I'd like to know how many students just stayed behind and went to the library.
I want to know how many of these students are going to access abortion services later in life.
Yeah, if not already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even contraceptives.
Oh, of course. Yeah. But how many women? I can't remember the statistic from.
See, I can't say the word.
Several. Thank you. Several years ago, that 90-some% of Catholic women were using contraceptive.
Yeah, I know. I've
so.
Yeah. Some, then the rest is Catholic roulette.
Well, the rhythm method.
Yeah. Useless.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Okay, this guy. We're moving to Africa now. This is not Catholic Watch anymore, but I don't have any bumpers for miscellaneous. So, Limpopo pastor gives congregants Dettol to drink. And
unbelievable, hey?
Dettol is a antibacterial. It's used for cleaning surfaces, right? So really like a sledgehammer. Not intended for internal consumption. Okay, so he actually got pictures of him giving people, church members, at the AK Spiritual Christian Church in South Africa. As this is prophet, not whatever. Rufus Falla, and he, gets people to drink Dettol to wash away their sins.
Yeah, antifreeze. Oh my God, my antifreeze heals my people. He says.
Yeah, well, that's the antifreeze. We're coming up to the antifreeze, but
yeah.
Health spokesperson Tebiso Tefu says, we're definitely concerned about this unnatural habit that these pastors are doing. We call upon the commission that is responsible for the regulation of these churches. There's something that regulates churches? Oh, that'd be nice, actually. To look into this matter because this has dire consequences for the health of our people. No kidding. Okay, so it's Dettol at this point. This is 2 years ago. This is okay. So we're fast forwarding here. Antifreeze heals people, says pastor. He used to heal his congregation with Dettol, but now, claims the pastor, he has something even better. Through God's power, he says he makes antifreeze taste like other soft drinks. Yeah.
Gross. Okay, I think we might have got it backwards, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, but the antifreeze heals people was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, and the one you're referring to now is
backwards.
around 2019, April 30th. So super recent. Yeah.
No, the antifreeze is 2017.
Yeah, but I think the one we're going to talk about now is 2019.
Oh no, what we're coming up to. We're still on the antifreeze. So,
okay, sorry.
Fala said God told him the ministry was challenged by Satan, and the antifreeze would chase Satan's spirit from his church. How does he know it's not Satan pretending to be God? I don't know. And he said, I drink it, and miracles happened in my life.
Wow.
What
I don't think he was drinking that.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
The scriptures said with God everything is possible, and he said miracles will follow those who believe. Well, what miracles? You notice that information is missing. He claims... it's kind of, well, gee, why doesn't he actually give us a list and verify that? He claimed that antifreeze stops boozers from drinking beer. It stops them from eating
it does.
Living.
Yeah, I was going to say living, yeah.
Breathing. This can only be dangerous to the congregation before God. I assume he's talking about the boozing. Whatever I'm doing is a message from God. I shouldn't be judged. Oh, yeah. Wait till we come.
Did not Jesus turn water into wine?
Yeah.
What? They acknowledged
antifreeze to Coke.
Water to wine. Let's start for that instead.
Miracles are getting less and less, Water to wine is a lot better than antifreeze to Coke. Yeah. Anyway. All right. Fast forward to 2018. Pastor on the run after administering lethal dose of Jick to 6 church members. Jick is basically bleach. So he's given up on the Dettol, he's given up on the antifreeze, and now he's gone to bleach. He's going to get those souls whiter than white. A controversy.
Can I read that?
Yeah.
Can I read it? There's a caption. Pastor Rufus Fala of Ark Center Ministry in Magodu Village, Limpopo, South Africa, have changed Jick into the blood of Jesus and gave his followers to cleanse their sins. Oh, God.
Yep.
So we've gone from water to wine to fucking bleach?
Yep.
Not to mention...
He picked 10 random members, congregants, and gave them this
27
bleach to drink. And, we're not at that.
No, 27 are confirmed dead.
No, you're jumping the gun. You're jumping the gun. This is 2018, not 2019. 2018.
Okay.
So he got 10 members to drink bleach. 6 died after suffering, surprise, stomach pains.
Yeah.
Okay, now by this time, you'd think that these people would be going, maybe I shouldn't belong to this church, and or if I do, maybe I shouldn't drink this.
Yeah.
When a bunch of people die. I mean, 60% mortality rate, that's almost the level of Ebola. Now we're going to 2019. Did it again. This time 27 dead, 18 in critical condition. How is this guy not doing multiple life sentences in prison?
No kidding. Yeah. This is terrible.
I do not understand this. This is where he said that he claimed to have changed Jick into the blood of Jesus and gave his followers to cleanse their sins. 27 dead. I mean, two nurses were among the dead, but I've been there are a lot of nurses around that are actually anti-vax, which is really
I'm sure there are. Yeah.
just it's having a degree in medicine is no guarantee of rational thinking.
Skepticism. Yeah.
So, and the reason
Or teachers too.
the reason they haven't arrested this guy is because, as a police spokesman said, there have been no complaints. Well, how can you complain when you're dead?
Yeah. Well, one would think their family would complain on the dead's behalf.
You would think so.
But how brainwashed must you be to
but why do you
accept
need to wait
this
for
stuff?
a complaint? We know people died when being administered a noxious substance.
Yeah.
And that's a crime regardless of whether or not, I don't know, maybe this is a quirk of the South African legal system, but here you do not need anybody to come forward with a complaint. You just have to have evidence a crime happened.
Yeah.
And this guy is still out there, as far as I can tell. Like, I don't get it. It's just something else.
I can't help but returning to the what's his name, Deepak Chopra, and the credibility he gets, even though he's full of shit.
Yeah, but he's not plying people with bleach.
No, but he and what's his name, that other. Okay, so I'm particularly pissed because I'm thinking of a video where he and that Tony Robbins,
Mm-hmm.
is that what I'm thinking of? Basically denied the link between AIDS and HIV. And it was fucking revolting. It was revolting to watch what they were saying. Like, you can think this stuff away. Like, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I lost a friend over that one. A friend that I'd known since I was like 5. Yeah.
Shall I compare thee to a dung heap? Let me count the ways. I'm a little. I'm paraphrasing Shakespeare.
Thought so.
Yeah, so that's what I got for that. I just don't believe it. I mean, this guy is a serial murderer, really, and a mass murderer.
Yeah.
And allowed to get away with it. I wonder how many of those people left the church everything in their wills.
Me too. And
I'm really wondering that. And
yeah.
This has all along been a way to get wealthy.
Yeah. It's a scary crime system. I guess if you can say what was it that Hitch said? If you can put pastor, I don't know, whatever in front of your name, you get a free pass, right? Or priest, or I can't. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Is the last legitimizer of things like bigotry and prejudice, and you just have to say, oh, it's freedom of religion, child sex slavery. If you talk about
God,
that, yes.
And
it's taken because of that, because it's religion. It's taken that long. Like, they've been after this guy for decades. They finally found him guilty. And
that was a while back. Like, when did they? What does? I can't remember the guy's name, but when does he get out?
I don't think he ever is going to get out.
Okay. I do remember FLDS, but I can't remember the guy's name.
He was just sentenced the other day.
Jeremy something Warrens something Warrens,
something like that. Yeah, he was just sentenced the other day. So, they've tried. They put him on trial several times. They finally got it to stick. So it's because of that freedom of religion clause in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It should have been. Well, in the United States doesn't have that, but it's still religious freedom, right? Up here we have.
Yeah, but then there's the underage thing, right?
Yeah.
So my understanding is that, and I could be wrong, but I don't think in Canada we want to make any legislation around polygamy because there are certain relationships that are not exploitive, right?
Right, exactly. Polygamy is not the problem.
But No, it was child,
It's child.
transporting kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Child trafficking.
Yeah, trafficking. Thank you. Yeah.
And that's the problem. You want
Yeah.
you want the headache of polygamy? Knock yourself out. Go for it. One wife is as far as I can handle. I'm glad she's not listening to this right now. These flames here are not going to be. They're going to be real.
Well, what the hell? I don't think she'd welcome a second wife into the relationship, so I think she'd be totally in agreement with you.
Yeah.
And my God, 2 men in my life? Ugh! Ah! Could be complicated. Yeah.
I think we'll move on to this one.
The Legion of Reason presents Eye on Islam.
On Islam. Okay. Austria approves headscarf ban in primary schools. Now, okay. So Austria has approved the law aimed at banning the headscarf in primary schools. And inside the legislation, that it refers to any ideologically or religiously influenced clothing which is associated with the covering of the head. The problem with this is that the patka head covering, that's what's worn by Sikh boys, and the Jewish kippah would not be affected. This is a problem.
Interesting. Yeah.
I would applaud this legislation except for that.
Yeah.
These are children. They are not. Well, I'll get to that later. But they're not old enough to make those kinds of choices for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And not a good. The hijab. No, I'm going to save that for when we talk about Yasmin Mohammed's article, because I think she says some very salient points in it, and it's something that perplexed me too. But.
Something that I've learned is that if you pronounce that hijab as opposed to hijab, that's a thing with our Canadian accents and blah blah blah. So we might sound racist if we say hijab as opposed to hijab. So yeah, it just slips up the tongue naturally. I think it's hijab as opposed to hijab. Stress on the first syllable. I'm not positive, but yeah.
All right, hijab.
I was corrected at one point, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the opposition party members stated that she misses the point completely. There was no evidence that girls found it more difficult to learn when wearing a headscarf.
Yeah.
That's not the point, lady.
Yeah, no shit. Why would you even conduct a study on something like that?
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's not even at all relevant to this. The problem is they get enough of this misogyny at home. They don't need to wear it to school.
Yeah.
And especially when they're at an age when they can't make those choices for themselves.
I agree.
The problem is that they're not extending this to all religious headscarves.
That's true. Yeah.
Or headgear.
And,
that
they're specifically targeting Muslims.
Yeah, I think they are, and
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Yeah, that's a problem. And of course, this is going to face legal challenges, and we'll see what comes of that. But I would like to see the law actually extended so that it is not discriminatory.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Austria tends to be a bit xenophobic. So
they do. They've got a pretty good history of, I don't want to say this, but kind of falling behind the curveball. Do you know? I know that misogyny is a huge issue there still, whereas I think a lot here in North America we've overcome that women are still experiencing there.
Yeah.
Domestic violence, that kind of thing, right? Yeah. So they're still in need of activism.
Happens, but that
Absolutely.
doesn't mean it's culturalized.
No, from what I understand, it actually is. It's a macho culture traditionally, right?
Where?
Australia.
Austria. We're talking about Austria.
Austria or Austria? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, I see. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this one now? What the heck? It's a blank screen. Oh, well, that's loading. Let's go to the next one. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, that. Oh, yeah. We've been talking about... I wish this thing would... Come on. In Birmingham, we mentioned it a few episodes ago where Muslims were outside protesting there we go. They had daily demonstrations. They're still going on. Daily demonstrations have been taking place outside Anderton Park Primary School in Birmingham, and it's to protest their children being taught that it's okay to be gay. They call it, in a flyer that's been circulated around the local community, they call it brainwashing children that it's okay to be gay. One man told Sky News he had joined the crowd because homosexuality is a heinous, horrible thing. Another said homosexuality is not acceptable for us lot. But they're not homophobic, as one banner read. Right. Right, not at all homophobic. No, perish the thought. Jeez, people. You're the embodiment of homophobia. And the organizer doesn't even have children at the school. My goodness.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
The organizer doesn't even have children at that school.
Wow.
But there's these women in, is this the niqab or the, can't remember. There's just the eye slot showing.
Oh, that would be the, I think that's the niqab.
No, it's a niqab.
No, burqa I think is, burqa is like super heavy thing that is, you don't even see your eyes because they're covered with a net kind of thing. So,
confused all of a sudden. So these women are holding up this sign saying, "My child, my choice." To a point.
Our citizen,
they are not
our
owners.
Right to educate them. Yeah.
They have a duty to learn about society. Okay?
Yep.
And they are
not just ours.
They're not,
but the international community.
Yeah, well, that's true too. But mainly for your own, country. And parents are not owners. We give them a lot of leeway, but there's a limit. And it's, we're still trying to find out what those limits are for, like for vaccinations and in this case, teaching about, it's, gay people are okay. And it's okay for your child to be gay.
Yeah.
And that is the state's responsibility. Tough. That is perfectly in line with the duties of education by the state.
But what if the state fails to, uphold that? Look, we've got Jason Kenyon, and he's going on about GSAs and shit like that, right? What the hell? For those who don't know what I'm talking about, Jason Kenney is our newly elected conservative premier.
Conservative Party premier.
Yeah. And what he wants to do is allow parents to know that their children are involved in.
He wants to forward it.
Ford
the education system.
People might not always know what Ford is about, but essentially, parents should be informed when their children join these GSAs, which is fucking bullshit. Because some parents are really, really awful to their children who come out as gay,
if they
or
find out,
you know,
that could be,
yeah,
bad things can happen.
Yep.
Like, what could possibly go wrong, Kenny?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
What a douche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah, we were.
But like you said, Ford in Ontario too, same kind of thing. But yeah, bullshit.
Coming back to North America, Philadelphia City Commission probing disturbing video at Philly Islamic Center. Yeah. This was very, very disturbing. Muslim children were captured on video speaking in Arabic about beheadings and the liberation of Jerusalem's most sensitive holy site. Wow.
Yeah. Can you zoom in one more?
Can I zoom in one somewhere? Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. That's better.
Sorry.
That's better. Yeah.
Now playing. Get out of here. Children, the video was showing children moving to a revolutionary anthem often used by Islamist groups, and there was a prepared text, and one of the girls was saying in it, "We will chop off their heads and we will liberate the sorrowful and exalted Al-Aqsa Mosque." Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, what could possibly be wrong with this? The Muslim American Society took the video down and said in a statement it rejects what happened, calling it an unintended mistake.
How many rehearsals did you do?
Taken out of context. Yeah, that's it. Taken out of context.
Oh, I love that one.
And an oversight in which the center and students are remorseful. Yeah, something doesn't smell right there.
I'm sure, if their little kids are just, saying stuff by rote, right? And then the meaning isn't maybe, conferring to them, but who the hell's teaching these kids that they can memorize this and perform it?
Yeah.
That's awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Muslim American Society, that's the Facebook page where this video was, also shares space with the Al-Hidayah Mosque, which serves a large number of Palestinian immigrants. They talk to CARE, the Philadelphia chapter of CARE. Yay.
Well, I think everybody should ought to Google that one and see what's going on.
We've said
I'm not going to go into
it in the past. Yeah. None of it nice.
Propaganda.
Yeah, it's totally a propaganda. It's an apologetics machine for Islamism.
Yeah, that's putting it kindly. Yeah.
He said Monday that the mosque had asked the council to hold a workshop on diversity and religious tolerance. To help members of the immigrant Muslim community have a better understanding of Jewish sensitivities and anti-Semitism. Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, this is a perfect way to do that. Wow. You're going to cut off our heads. Yeah, that's not anti-Semitism at all. Man.
Yeah.
This was, they got this part right. This was a stupid decision by an untrained pedagogue and volunteer teacher. But nobody seemed to notice for a while. The mayor said the city of Philadelphia condemns bigotry in all its forms. Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection. I don't remember it being called the city of sisterly affection, but that's not what... that's the literal translation of Philadelphia, right? This city of brotherly love. But anyway, for this moniker to ring true, all our brothers and sisters, regardless of their background... See, you got another cultural reference to store in your head. For this moniker to ring true, all our brothers and sisters, regardless of their background, must feel safe and welcome. As long as you don't care about keeping your head. We're committed to working together with partners representing all our communities to make this happen. This is like, how did this happen? I mean, it's not really well explained here. I mean, how is this person allowed to be put in a position like this? This doesn't happen in a vacuum.
No shit.
And so,
yeah.
And so,
well, we've been challenged here in Canada with similar events happening at,
sure.
So,
and it's not limited to Islam, of course. I mean,
I shouldn't say charged, but, pointed out. Yeah, that's true.
But this one is, when you talk about cutting off heads, not even the, white supremacists talk about that.
Do some shitty things too.
yeah, true.
Cutting off heads is probably kinder.
They don't have little kids saying, we're going to chop off their heads.
I think they do. I think they do. I think the kids are
I'm
totally
sure there's little kids
indoctrinated.
saying bad things, but I don't think they're saying
chop
off their heads. So there's a city commission.
I don't think it's being promoted. I don't think it's being promoted in the public school system either.
No.
Right? Yeah.
So there's a city commission that's probing this, and I'll try to keep my eye on this because there's something, something ain't right here. Moving to Washington State, in Seattle, there's I hate to agree with these people, but anyway, a religious liberty advocacy group, which is called the Freedom of Conscience Defense Fund, and you can pretty much guess what their background is. They says that Deeringer School District is following a script laid out by CARE that urged schools to make special accommodations, including altering testing times and wishing students Ramadan Mubarak or Ramadan Kareem. And I think that the Defense Fund is correct in saying that this promotes a religion. You could say it's innocuous, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. So, and I think that is the case here. Public schools are, religion is verboten. Teachers should not be doing that. As like saying Merry Christmas. I don't think that teachers should do that either.
No, Happy Holidays is fine.
To me, it doesn't, but to other people, it might have a religious connotation. To me, it's just
to me it does. To me, it does. And
the etiology of the word certainly is, but
I don't. It's not like I'm going to get angry at anybody, but I do. And this is for for a long time in my adult life, I wonder why they think I'm a Christian. They automatically assume I'm a Christian, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Me, they know it's an atheist because I'm an asshole, but...
Well, strangers, when they wish me Merry Christmas, do they look at me and assume I'm a Christian? No, I'm not.
I don't know, do they?
Well, if they say Merry Christmas to me, they might very well be assuming... No, I'm not offended, blah, blah, blah kind of thing, but just because I'm white doesn't mean I'm a Christian.
Secularized? I do think it's largely secularized, so it doesn't bother me.
I've always I was self-employed and I didn't know who was what, so I'd just say Happy Holidays,
Mm-hmm.
It just seems the most inclusive way to deal with that stuff. And like now Happy Holidays has become like this curse word, like, you're not saying Merry Christmas. And that's so ridiculous to me.
Yeah. So the representative of the Defense Fund said exchanging Islamic greetings with Muslim students impermissibly advances and promotes a religious message. Yeah, I think it can be, it's minor, but it still can be construed that way, for sure. Yeah, don't do it. Maybe up here, it's not as clear cut because we don't have that separation of church and state enshrined within our Constitution or in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
But this was in Seattle.
Yeah, that's what I'm just making the comparison.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's so up here it would be not as cut and dried.
No, that's true. At least not in Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario.
Well, I mean, come on, Brad Wall, that's using taxpayers' money for spreading Jesus at Christmas. Sheesh.
That's Saskatchewan, yeah.
That was
Bloody
just
hell.
was a disgusting waste
Ugh,
of
yeah.
taxpayer dollars. I don't mind a Christmas message, but
Well, I
take
would say
the
a holiday
Jesus
message
out.
would be, yeah, yeah,
Take the religious aspects out. Don't sell
yeah,
Jesus, because not every one of your constituents is a follower, and you're supposed to be representing everybody.
yeah.
If you
And
can't,
there's
you can't separate them, don't be a politician.
yeah, yeah. And just
Um,
because you celebrate Christmas doesn't mean you're a Christian necessarily.
oh,
You
yeah,
know,
we do all the pagan
it's just a
stuff.
nice time of the year, and
The tree,
nice
the
to honor your
presents.
family, and
That's all
yeah,
paganism.
yeah,
No Jesus
yeah.
there though.
Just a good
Star
excuse
Trek.
to get to. What's up?
We have Star Trek ornaments. You
Oh,
get 'em
cool.
you get them at Hallmark. Oh, which reminds me.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Cool.
got a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a $6 million man one too that last year, I think.
Really?
That's
Hey.
cool. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
That's like a
Very-
blaster in the past.
Oh, totally. They're trying to
Yeah.
reboot that, or at least make a
Wow.
movie.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember who it was who's wants to. It's called the $6 billion man now, because I think inflation.
So, and technology. Yeah.
Yeah. So somebody's trying.
Well,
who's
that
trying
sounds
to do it.
like not a bad premise. It
Yeah,
could be
well,
fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure the effects will be better than the TV show.
Let's hope
I
so. Bloody hell.
I should get that sound effect. I should do that. So the Freedom of Defense, Conscious Defense Fund, let's bump that up. Its mission is to defend religious freedom by providing protective legal services at the trial level to persons whose religious liberty and free speech rights have been attacked.
Randy, may I ask you to pump it up like one or two more because it's pixelated on my end, and that's better.
All right. So, Freedom of Conscience Defense Fund is a non-profit public interest law firm which defends the conscience, rights, and religious freedom of those of all faiths and no faith. Maybe. I have my doubts. But on this, I agree with them. So, I would much rather the FFRF was involved.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Consulted with that one. Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if they've. I don't know. Oh, this.
Well, I hope so. Oh, yes.
A Ramadan etiquette guide for non-Muslims.
But I have to say that this article was pretty yeah, just let your Muslim friends do what they want to do and don't worry about what they think. They're fine. And I kind of appreciated that.
I just don't think, I don't feel the need to get anybody's permission to do anything to accommodate, to not accommodate people for, I don't want to participate, which means I will eat anywhere and anything I please.
So zoom in a couple of times, and I think that's essentially what they're saying. Hey, there have been some articles that are like, oh, be sensitive to your Muslim friends. Don't eat around them, and don't, wave a cheese cheese.
Well, Linda Sarsour had that kind of that video about.
Yeah,
Ramadan,
I would say just defy that.
This is milder.
Just we're fine. We're doing our shit. If you don't agree, and there's even one thing, what is it? The festival at midnight when do you get to eat?
This iftar.
Oh, join us for yeah.
Iftar. Yeah.
That's it's like come and join us. I think it's what's that?
I thought it was called Eid. Oh no, that's not Eid. Eid is after Ramadan, right?
Okay, yeah. Or not the entirety of the celebration.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have Eids a day upon a row. And so they get to, they fast during this period of Eid, and then at midnight you feast or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But during the day, through that process, you fast.
I just wouldn't have this, angst about what I would be doing in front of somebody who was observing Ramadan.
No, and I think that's essentially what they're trying to convey in this message.
Oh, I hope so.
If not,
I don't need their
join us
permission.
for the feast. What's up?
I'm not. I'm not looking for their permission. That's for sure.
Well, no.
If
Yeah.
I was in their
Please
home,
be a little
different
flexible.
story. That's their
Of course.
domain. Same with prayer at somebody's house dinner. I'm not going to participate, but I will respect.
Yeah.
But if they try to pray in my home, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
Totally agree.
No. Stop it right now.
Yeah.
We'll still go for coffee with you. Yeah. This is actually nice.
That's funny.
Halitosis. Yeah, I get it. I thank you very much for being considerate.
Let's read it out in full. Read it out in full. But we may keep our distance. One word, halitosis. You may not eating for trying for an entire day.
Yeah.
So, thank you. That's why we're standing a foot away from you when we talk.
Dry mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. They've got bad breath and they're trying to be courteous.
Mm-hmm. When you can taste it, you know it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it.
Having said that, skunk can't smell its own smell too, right? So if you got like massive garlic breath or something, you don't know it necessarily, but everybody around you does, right?
Yeah.
This is not, isolated to one particular practice.
You can say Ramadan embark, which I won't.
No, I won't either.
That's fine. But please don't say I should fast too. I need to lose weight. I would never say
Yeah,
that.
I can
I do
understand
need to
that.
lose weight, but fasting is the worst thing you can do. So, I would never say that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. A 24 or 48 hour fast is, I think, not a problem. But they don't even get to drink water during the day. That was something that blew me away, hey?
Yeah.
Like I could do fast. I'm sure I could do a 48-hour fast or even more if I just, had access to water. But, wow. If all you get to, drink is, mind you said, like, they get their feast at evening, but wow. Fasting isn't a problem.
Yeah, they do it for different reasons than you would do it.
Yeah.
What was this one? Oh, yeah, this is Yasmin Mohammed's article in the Toronto Sun. Celebrating burkini is betrayal, not benevolence, and I completely agree with this.
And we've had her on before as a guest.
Yeah, we have, and I'd like to have her on again. This.
Yeah.
Nike had the sport hijab.
Yeah.
What else was there? Anyway, these.
A L'Oreal commercial where the woman was wearing hijab and you couldn't see her hair.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was this commercial I saw, a woman wearing hijab, washing her hair with applying it over the hijab, and her eyes kind of fluttering like she was having an orgasm. I'm thinking that's pretty haram.
I haven't seen
I think
that.
I posted it on a long time ago. Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And I'm just
okay.
Whoa, that's haram. It's heavy.
Well, yeah, the L'Oreal commercials did kind of exploit the
maybe that was
woman's orgasm image or whatever, right? Kind of thing. Yeah. So I can see it.
Yeah. And this is the thing, and this is why at home, I'm quoting here. At home, I was taught that at 9 years old, I needed to wear a hijab to protect myself from men who wanted to molest me. At home, I was taught that good, pure, clean girls wore the hijab, and filthy, loose, despicable girls do not. Now, this is something I've been saying, when people like Linda Sarsour and what's that congresswoman's name? Omar?
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying, to me, the hijab means empowerment and modesty, and they really do believe that any woman that doesn't wear the hijab are immodest, they're not empowered, and so
I want to go back through what you read because you didn't cite oh shit, sorry,
I didn't.
What's your name?
Yasmin Mohammed. Sure.
Yeah, Yasmin. Okay, scroll down again. A little bit more when you highlighted.
Yeah, the sports.
At home, I was taught that 9 years old, I needed to wear hijab to protect myself from men who wanted to molest me. From my society, I don't think you read this.
No,
From my society, I learned that was called slut shaming, right?
Yeah.
At home, I was taught that and at home I was taught that it was good, pure, clean girls wore the hijab, and filthy, loose, despicable girls did not. Okay, slut shaming. I'm sorry, the other one was wearing the hijab to not get molested and calling it victim blaming, right?
Yeah.
Like what a world between two worlds. You're Canadian, and yet you're being culturally brought up in this completely,
Yeah, this is where you she was caught between two worlds, the whole life, which was very fundamentalist, and the rest of us who are, those two don't mesh together, and it's a conflict. Some people choose to go more religious and often become, that's a way to radicalization, because they see society as decrepit, or as
corrupt,
and there was a famous book by that is basically the Islamism Bible.
We've fallen and we need to be saved, right?
Well, he hated America because of its freedoms and looseness, and what he saw as immorality and decadence. That's the word I was looking for. And it became kind of in the Islamic world became, this was a guy who went to the University of Chicago, and he became a radicalized Muslim and spent a lot of time in prison. I can't remember the guy's name, but Ali Rizvi mentions him in his book. The Muslim Atheist.
Yeah.
And this is what happens. So you either go that direction or you go Yasmin's direction, which was to say, you know what, my family, my religion, my culture is wrong. And she chose to divest herself of it. And it cost her a lot.
Yeah. Although I wouldn't say that she and you said Azvi or Rizvi? Azvi or Rizvi?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Ali. No. I don't think they're not necessarily on the same page.
Oh, nobody has to be. Why?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, because you said she took a different approach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that, but I think they're still on the same page overall.
What are you talking about?
In challenging Islam.
Oh. Yeah, so?
Okay, never mind.
There's no one way to challenge bad beliefs. And this is the problem I have with the accommodationist crowd. Oh, don't criticize the beliefs. Why the hell not? People do change their minds when confronted with the absurdity of their beliefs. And I think you might have been, I know Twy was at that dreaded Don't Be a Dick talk.
Oh no, it wasn't, but I've certainly that was years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I've heard it, and yeah.
And
I'm familiar with it.
He asked a question to the audience: how many of you have had your minds changed by someone being a jerk towards you for holding those beliefs? And he ignored that. Not just a few hands went up. And
I bet they did.
Right over the top. You have to have been in the crowd to have seen that. And it was a disastrous talk.
Well, there are multiple, I guess, persuasive mechanisms to, and some people are kind and generous, and they'll listen thoughtfully to your arguments, and other people are just like, you're full of shit, and they both work. It just depends on different people who they work on.
Yeah, what somebody is susceptible to.
Yeah.
And like Matt Dillahunty himself said, he was trying to convince his atheist roommate and decided to look into the claims of Christianity, and that drove him to non-belief. And that's got to be hard. I can't even imagine that. I mean, that's got to be difficult.
That's
because
true.
You've lived your life inculcated with that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get back to Yasmin here. Yeah, so she was able to escape this Islamist culture with her daughter, and when she left, she found herself, quote, in a world where the very things I escaped from are being fetishized by Western corporations like Gap, Mattel. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Barbie. Hijabi Barbie. Nike, and most recently on Sports Illustrated. I mean, why are we suddenly celebrating religious modesty culture? And that question cuts right to the heart of things.
It really does.
If it wasn't Islam, would these people, so-called feminists, still be okay with this?
Yeah. Well, when you think back to the history of freedom of speech and the hippie movement, you think they would have covered up because of modern? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Isn't that the very thing feminists have been fighting against for centuries? How is it now suddenly something positive? I agree. Like, it makes no sense. It is a complete non sequitur. When two completely incompatible ideas, they're immiscible. The idea of equality and modesty culture. Modesty culture doesn't apply to men, really.
That's true. I guess I'm thinking back to, like when I was, 17, 18 years old, I was dating a guy, and mom and dad happened to have German visitors over, right? And so I go in there with my boyfriend, and she's like, "Oh, look at you! I haven't seen you for years. Now you've got boobies," and she grabs me, right? because German, right? Like, they don't care. It's not
exactly.
Like it's not sexualized. The body is just what it is, and there's nude beaches, and everybody goes. And not that I know of this experience, kind of thing, but like there are cultures that are way more, restrictive of sexuality and don't even associate nudity with necessarily sexuality.
Yeah.
And we're taking one extreme to the other, where North America's kind of blah blah blah, but there are cultures, if you want to, if you're a California girl and you look awesome and perfect, that's cool and you're nude. But if Donald Trump traipsing around a nudity beach in California, not so much. But in Germany, everybody goes to the nude beaches, and nobody gives a rat's ass how you look. It's just your body. So there's, even within our standards, it's not that liberal. It's really not.
No, I agree. Yeah, we have a lot of hang-ups.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like some of the things that, imagine if that on the cover of Sports Illustrated, it was an Amish woman in her prairie dress and bonnet, or Mormon underwear being modeled on a Victoria's Secret runway.
That is such a perfect statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. How do you reconcile feminism with modesty culture?
Modesty culture. Yeah.
They do not understand that the hijab is not benign cultural clothing like lederhosen or a kilt. Yeah, that's true.
And that's not to say that even if you deny,
it's religious.
I think one can still support modesty culture in a, I don't know what I want to say, like Stockholm syndrome kind of way, but still be true to the values of, I think we can defend our sisters because of our choice, because as we can support our sisters and their choices without necessarily being a dick, like you said, right?
You don't be personal about it, and so it's a meta conversation. We want it to stay meta, not individualize it. I do draw the line at World Hijab Day. Pisses me off. That gets personal because these are people who are selling modesty culture. Screw it. That's crossing the line. But I can support people's free choice. It's debatable whether it's actually free because it is their religion.
Well, like you said,
It's hard
Stockholm
to call that free.
right?
What's that?
Yeah, yeah. Off camera, we had said something about Stockholm syndrome, and I think you're right. That's terrible and sorry, blah blah blah. But yeah, if you adopt a symbol of oppression, and
right. So let's just say it was a valid claim to say that this is a free choice. I can say that knock yourself out, but I will never ever support normalization of this.
Yeah.
This is what's going on with the Gap and Nike, and this kind of normalization has to receive pushback, big time.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Right. We don't normalize domestic violence. We don't normalize. I mean, you've seen these videos of coming from the Islamic world where men are being instructed how to beat their wives by women.
Yeah.
By women.
That's shocking.
Okay.
Yeah.
If he doesn't beat you a little bit, he doesn't love you.
Wow. Yeah.
Literally, this is the thing that they're saying. We don't normalize that crap. Okay. That's normalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have to obviously present a counter narrative, and if that means we get slagged, what's the deal?
Oh, just water off the duck's back. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
So supporting, trying to do, celebrating the hijab is like.
Well, I can support a woman's right to. Yes, I can support a woman's right to wear it because that's what it means to be in a democracy. But I can't celebrate it.
Yeah.
And fetishize it. That's.
Just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean it's a good idea.
Yeah, that would be like endorsing the I want to say LGBTQS, but that's not it. The FLDS in BC. That's such a sophomore kind of thing.
You have a right to your beliefs, but you don't have a right to child trafficking.
Yeah. If you want to be in a polygamous marriage with consenting adults, have at her. Yeah, but we will not tolerate you exploiting our youth and sex trafficking. Yeah,
and she makes the point that I've been making all along, is that this is really spitting in the face of women for whom this is not a choice.
Exactly.
And, she says, across the world, if women try to remove it, they can be abused, imprisoned, or even killed. There's nothing benign about it. Despite the fact that it is a tool of misogyny seeped in oppression that perpetuates rape culture, every woman should be free to wear it. Yeah, that's basically what we've been saying all along.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
You're free to wear it, but don't expect me to think your decision is. That doesn't mean I approve.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah. In fact, I disapprove. And we need to share things like my stealthy freedom. That campaign.
Oh,
and
those people have guts to do that.
They certainly fucking do. They're putting their lives at risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
And bodies.
Yeah.
And
well, your body is your life,
Well,
but I suppose it's worth things than death.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's worse things that can be done to you than kill you.
Yeah. Or such slow, painful death that.
And then there's Alabama.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Bam.
Wow.
Yep. Anti-abortion legislation is part of a wave of state bills attacking Roe v. Wade. And the story.
That scares the fuck out of me.
What's that?
It scares the hell out of me.
Oh, yeah,
I said the fuck out of me, but.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm infected because, Canadian, obviously, and. But I worry about the rights of young women in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
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 And, I guess I was kind of raised in the mindset that you do your due diligence to, enact your birth control methods, and as a last resort, abortion is okay, right?
Yep.
And I'm fortunate I never had to access that service, but although lots of people I knew were, did, and not because of their negligence, because sometimes stuff doesn't work.
Not
100%.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not a method of birth control; it's a last resort option.
Who
and there
uses it as a method of birth control? Really?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
Silly to say that. But
and then there's like the morning after pill and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you can't access that, like my pharmacy down the street from me is like, if you want this, whatever abortion pill, we have it here, and you don't have to ask any questions. I'm like, cool, right?
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that worries me up here because, for instance, Kenny could defund that. Like right now, it's I think it's available free of charge right now.
I don't know, but probably.
I knew the NDP was planning on doing that. I can't remember if they did or not.
It seems like it. Well, I don't know. Like I said, but it seems if you do have to pay it some small amount, a couple $100 maybe. Probably way to your income level and that kind of thing, right? Too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So this article on CBC News, it starts with a woman coming to a Planned Parenthood office, and then somebody in a bright orange vest comes over and gives this person a pamphlet about what to do about pregnancy. Of course, she works for St. Louis Coalition for Life, so it's a bait and switch, right?
Yeah.
And I love this. This person says, "It's a start. Every time a person discovers she doesn't have to make this choice, it's a victory for me." I think they knew that before they came.
Well, I guess it depends, right?
And I highly doubt that any of the literature that was given to this person would include anything about abortion.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with an alternative narrative, except you have to be fair and acknowledge the other side. Yeah.
Don't be
because
like her.
I'm sure there are women who are, like, okay, I regret, I don't want to have an abortion, I want to have this child, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not, I know there's like such a term as pro-abortion. I'm not pro-abortion, but consider your options, and that's your life choice. Yeah. It's nobody else's goddamn business, right?
Yeah. It makes it's just been a spate of similar legislation based around fetal heartbeat, as if that has anything to do with anything.
Yeah.
It's a fetus. It's not a person. It's not an unborn child. There is no such thing as an unborn child. It's somebody. It's not somebody. It's not a person. It's not a person. It's the potential to become one. Sure. So what? Your skin cells have that potential. Science can revert it back to a stem cell, and then go forward again, and you'd be cloned. It's just ludicrous. It doesn't. The some of these bans have been stayed because they're recognizing the arbitrary nature of the fetal heartbeat. Let's see, Missouri. No, that's not it. Where is it? I think it's this one. Okay, the rising wave of abortion restrictions in America. So, abortion is legal under Roe v. Wade in all 50 states. It's just
what?
Well, it is, but
really,
states.
Okay,
states
federal laws override. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's.
Can you go back to that second point?
Yeah.
Okay.
This year, a series of strict anti-abortion bills have been passed with the intention to reshape women's access to the procedure. Yeah. And, maybe it may be men that are voting this in, but don't think it's all men that think this way.
That's true.
A lot of women
sadly.
are also anti-choice.
Yeah.
So Alabama is the most restrictive, makes it illegal in virtually all cases. Not to mention that doctors who perform abortions can face life in prison.
Isn't that sickening?
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
I think they allow abortion in cases where the woman's life is in danger, and that's it.
But not if they've been raped by a family. Yeah. That's unreal.
It's God's
What about
gift.
the deformity of a child? Like if a child,
No.
Yeah, that's yeah.
And Georgia, Ohio, Kentucky, and Mississippi, they've all proposed or enacted so-called heartbeat bills, and they've got them in law. They ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can happen as early as 6 weeks. And a lot of women still, at that point, don't know that they're pregnant yet.
Of course not. Yeah.
Which effectively is a ban.
I think this is targeted at, younger women kind of thing, but there are women who go through menopause who think they're, free and scot clear kind of thing because they've gone, without a period, and all of a sudden look at this, you got a pregnancy and you're 55 years old. Holy shit. There's apparently quite a number that don't necessarily show up in the statistics of women who are menopausal, right? Do you want to be raising a child and have that child be 14 when you're 80? Does that make sense?
No. But they don't care. They don't care.
Yeah. Not to say would anybody deny that, because there are, I'm sure, people who would be wonderful in that role, but not for me. Probably not for most of us.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's like you're supposed to be retiring and actively caring for your own children anymore by that time, and nobody wants that.
You're supposed to be spoiling your grandchildren, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't be me, but
oh yes, it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
hey kids,
come on,
check out the back of the woodshed.
I've seen your cats.
Cats are a completely different animal. Literally, they're a completely different animal. They are not like babies at all. Not at all.
Fuck babies. I love my cats. Yeah. I can't. Yeah. As much as I, appreciate your cynicism, I can't quite attribute that to you. I think.
I simply have never wanted children of my own. That's it.
Yeah, but you have a stepdaughter.
Oh yeah,
right?
I steer clear of any fatherly, duties.
Bullshit.
No, I'm serious. Ask Rhonda.
Maybe.
I'm very careful. I don't step into that role at all.
Well, because your stepdaughter is an adult, right? But I think you were supportive of her, and you're full of shit. Yeah, you love your cats. I love
my cats. No question about that. I will not lie about that. I love those cats to death, and they're loads of fun. So Alabama's ban is set to take effect in November, and Georgia, their law is set to take effect on January 1st. And not all these bills are going to be challenged in court. I mean, no question. But the reason these bills are coming forward is because they think they can overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah,
and that's scary because they might. There is a chance that they can actually overturn Roe v. Wade. And then
you have a bottle of Benetton's, something like that, on the line? Because I'm like, no, they can't do that. And my friend Sam.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, they can. There's a possibility. Yeah. I like to think there are too many checks and balances in place for that kind of shit to happen, but it is a reality. Possible.
One federal judge has already not killed, but stopped the Kentucky bill.
Yeah.
But it's going to court, and they want that. these legislatures want it to go to court because they think
Exactly.
they can overturn Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I hope it's a different. It seems to me that would be.
Utah is the most interesting one because that was challenged. Where was it? Let me find that. Alabama. Yeah, see, there was an amendment to exempt rape and incest in Alabama that failed to pass, which is ridiculous. Doctors
crazy.
performing abortion are to be treated as felons and face up to 99 years in prison. That's just crazy.
Jesus. Yeah.
Mississippi has the heartbeat bill. They signed it in March, but they do have exemptions for medical reasons or what I don't understand is her serious risk of impairment. I don't know what that means. I mean, that's not to me like you're drinking, but I don't know.
Well, I would think that would be, the mother's the mother's life is at risk.
No, that's already covered in the previous.
Okay.
Exceptions are to prevent a woman's death. I guess maybe if she comes to harm. Ohio signed a heartbeat bill in April, and Georgia signed a bill last week that would ban abortions completely if a fetal heartbeat can be detected. That one's getting challenged by the ACLU.
What the hell? Wow.
Kentucky passed a heartbeat bill in March, but a federal judge stopped that one. I just mentioned that. There's a bill in Arkansas that bans abortion after 18 weeks of pregnancy, except in medical emergencies and cases of rape or incest. Utah passed a law that bans abortion after 18 weeks gestation, but the law was blocked by a federal judge in April. The state and defendants agreed to the injunction, and Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill, who was a defendant in the case, said he won't enforce the law, which is interesting. Iowa signed, they had a heartbeat legislation signed in May 2018, but a state judge struck down the law this January. So the law might actually work this time. Who knows? But it's
I would think so.
It's going to be a close thing. It's going to be a very close thing in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to be a very split decision, and I don't know which way it's going to go. I don't think anybody does.
Yeah, I suppose. I'd like to think it would go in favor of women's rights, but who knows, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Florida tried to introduce a heartbeat bill, but that failed. Texas fetal heartbeat bill formally died last week after it failed to win initial approval by midnight of a certain date. The good news is that there are some states that have gone the opposite direction. New York has passed a law in January that protects some late-term abortions, saying they can be performed after 24 weeks if the fetus is not viable or when necessary to protect the life of the mother. Vermont,
that seems reasonable.
Yeah, it's totally reasonable. Vermont, the state legislature passed a proposal to amend the state constitution to guarantee the right to an abortion. Before it can become law, the legislature would need to pass the bill again next year, and voters would need to approve it in a 2022 referendum. Go Vermont. I wonder what California has. I'm not sure. Here, no. There's another. There was another map that showed.
I think you did read it out.
Yeah, I read it out, but there was a map that showed both. Darn it. Yeah, no, I don't know. Anyway, it's going to be tight, and I hope Roe v. Wade is not overturned.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
That's all I got for tonight. We had a lot.
We did. Yeah. It's like, wow, we've gone for almost 2 hours. An hour and 45 minutes?
Closing in on 3.
Oh, holy crap, okay.
Yeah, we've been on for a long time. I'm surprised my voice has held up.
Yeah, mine too. I've got the allergy thing happening, and yeah, my sinuses are not good. Not happy. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's
And
for-
okay, I'm
you wanna
gonna
something?
say this. Yeah, I do, about the abortion thing. I'm sure I've said this on the podcast before, but so I lived next to a woman when I was a kid, and she was in her 70s, 80s kind of thing, and her mom was what do you call the doula today? A midwife, right?
No.
And they grew up in a rural community, I believe it was Saskatchewan or Manitoba kind of thing. And what that neighborhood told my mom is, if that baby didn't come out looking right, right? Yeah. That was the
Yeah.
reality of how things were dealt in those days. And my mom was like, oh my God, and she told me that. And I'm like, Mom, that's how it's happened forever before
Yeah.
legal abortion. Not that my mom was totally, pro one's rights kind of thing. But you think back to shit we don't even acknowledge or
Used to
even
put
think about,
unwanted
right?
children out into the wilderness.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
let the animals have them.
Stoics, didn't they? Especially the Stoics.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I know the Spartans.
Yeah.
They dealt with
Spartans.
property.
Sorry, I'm Spartans.
No, that's different.
Yeah,
This is a bit different. What I'm talking about. Spartans just killed it outright, like right there.
yeah.
But Greeks in general, they would actually, newborn that wasn't wanted, you put it out in the boonies.
Yeah.
The animals would have at it.
That's horrible.
Yeah, of course it. Well, from our perspective, but yeah.
Well, even my next door neighbor's midwife mother. That sounds horrible, but on the other hand, like, what the fuck? What are you going to do? We're talking about rural societies where you had, I don't know, 10, 12
Survival
kids or whatever,
was-
right?
Yeah.
Your
That's
kids were
for
expected
sure.
to take care of you and your siblings and, their, younger siblings. This
You only
is
had so
not
many
so much
resources.
yeah. It wasn't about love and romance and, this kind of thing. And, it was about practicality and
Days of,
reality.
arsenic
Not that
divorces.
Not that I ever enforced that, but condone that, but that was the reality of what was their time. And you just don't hear about it. This is just not something is written really in the historical text, so to speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because it was probably the norm.
Yeah. And these prohibitions on abortion are not going to end abortions.
No, of course, it's just going to make it more
end
dangerous.
safe abortions.
Yeah.
People will be forced to take chances and more shiftier conditions, and
Yeah.
it's just not going to end abortion.
Yeah.
It's just not.
And nobody wants to see a backstreet coat hanger thing happening. It's just gonna make it worse.
Well,
Yeah.
people are going to die. Actual, people.
Yeah.
Fetuses.
Well, those two.
Yeah, well, that's the point, isn't it?
Well, yeah. But just give people proper access to birth control.
Yeah, if you don't want
help
to
them.
have an abortion, don't have an abortion.
Yeah.
What happened
Yeah.
to this? Don't make decisions for other people. Christ.
Yeah.
Stop.
And we're talking. We're on that topic kind of thing, but there's an interest for men too, right? Like
There is.
for a woman who doesn't want a pregnancy, and like, say a woman wants to have that pregnancy go through, but the man has no interest in supporting that,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
There's an unfairness there. I'm not going to be popular for saying that, but
Send those
send your
emails
readies to legionofreason.com. Randy no, I'm kidding. Shell's going to tell us to.
Are we going into a men's rights advocacy here?
Well, I think there are men's rights that need to be upheld. I'm not
No. Heretic.
No, there are,
I think there are
human
some
rights. There are human
inequities
rights.
the other way too, right?
Yeah.
There are men who want to be actively involved in raising their child,
Yeah.
and they should be allowed to have that opportunity.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
It's tough, but you know what?
Life's tough.
That's life. Life's tough.
Yeah.
Life is suffering. I mean, that's the Buddha.
Oh, you're such a Catholic.
No,
Is it
Buddhist.
redemptive suffering?
Life is suffering.
No, it's true. Yeah. Yeah. If you can alleviate the suffering of others around you, do it.
Actually, that was also a line from John Wick 3.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
Pop culture.
I'll forgive you for not knowing that reference. It's not your kind of movie. It's definitely mine. The body count has to be real high, and then I get it. It maintains my interest. I love
I've been introduced to Morton. What the hell?
I'll give you an A for effort. You just
Rick and Morty. Norton, yeah. Rick and Morty. That was fun.
You should watch Rick and Morty. You'll like that. It's funny.
I've seen a few episodes and it was funny as hell. Yeah.
I actually really like that. Hopefully a new season someday.
Cool.
We have no idea when, but probably not till next year. Yeah, so that's all I got to say.
Yeah, me too.
I'm out of words. This is something I'm not used to.
I guess I could promote the American Humanist Association's conference coming up on. I'm sorry, I'm not prepared for this, but it's a distributed kind of thing across several platforms, so you can sign in for free to watch, or you can actually attend a venue. There's like five venues. I will be in California on, I believe it's June 8th.
My home.
And,
my ancestral
what's that?
home. My ancestral home, California.
Cool. Yeah, that's where a lot of my family is, but unfortunately not so close to me. It's a Greater LA is really big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big state, but yeah.
Yes, it is. A beautiful state.
Yeah, it is gorgeous. Yeah. That drive along the coast from like Vancouver down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God.
The 101.
Yeah, spectacular. Yeah.
Yeah, that's through Long Big Sur and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Even the drive from Calgary to Vancouver is beautiful.
Yeah, but it's so damn long.
It is long.
As the crow flies, it's like really short, but
yeah.
Cars don't fly over mountains very well.
Sure.
And they blow up on the Coca-Cola.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh my God.
No, you didn't. Oh no, yeah, the Audis. They had some kind of I don't know if it was a defect or a design flaw, and the gas tanks because of the steep grade of the Coca-Cola, they kept blowing up.
Wow.
And it was a problem for a while.
I didn't know that, but I do know that
was when the Coca-Cola was first opened.
Yeah, which I drove, and like how I don't know.
Trip, yeah.
It does. It was lovely, but you know how people's ears get if you're sensitive to pressure in an airplane, if I land from Calgary to Vancouver, coastal city, fucking hell, my ears just kill me. And it's a day before I can actually hear people again, kind of thing, right? Same thing happened on the Coca-Cola because it was just that much of a decline, hey?
Yeah,
it's unreal. Yeah. And then there was another time that I got stuck in the rain at, when it was dark out at night. Oh my God, there was no place to pull over. It scared the bloody bejesus out of me. So all I could do was follow a truck in front of me that was going like 140 kilometers an hour and just like stay on track with this guy. And like, oh my God, when I pulled over, it's like, because there's nowhere to pull over, It's a bit of a scary drive. Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll leave it here, and we'll come back in 2 weeks. It better be 2 weeks, because this has been 3 weeks since our last potpourri one, and it just got too much. I'm almost reconsidering my decision to do this bi-weekly and go weekly again.
Okay. Yeah.
I am considering that. I have not decided, but I'll see what happens in the next few episodes.
I think that's a good idea, because if we go on for like 2 hours, 3 hours, then
it's hard to
people are less inclined to watch.
Yeah.
It might even be
attention deficit disorder runs rampant.
It might even be worthwhile to chop things up into like 10-15 minute segments and putting those out there too, right? Yeah, I hear you.
Forget it. No,
Yeah.
no. I thought about scripting it, and that's just way too much work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
no.
Anybody want to volunteer?
It's going to be the off the cuff, you know. It doesn't allow
Yeah.
for spontaneous responses, and you know, I know what I want to say, and
No, I'm not saying you shouldn't do
there,
that, but just like chop it up
everybody-
after the fact into smaller increments, and
well,
people
yeah,
will
but
pick their.
yeah. You know, that you have to find this happy medium between under scrutinizing
Not
the
treating the
topic
subject. Yeah, yeah.
and over and basically beating it to death. There's got to be a medium in between there, and I think we largely find that.
That's true. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we're not getting into the minutia and getting pedantic, even though I am a natural pedant. Not pederast.
Not
A
me.
pedant. Okay. I'm just I'm an asshole, but I'm not like a really bad person. But anyway, okay.
Yeah.
Let's leave it here. I'm gonna go to bed. I am not
Okay.
feeling well, and
Me too.
it's time to go. So I think we'll close this out. Say good night.
Good night. Thank you for